All right, hey y'all, welcome back to Ava's Curly Girl Lessons. So today I am showing you guys how I do my feed-in method. I left one braid because I just was so confused on what I should post next, and I'm like, I have to do my hair, but I didn't want to shoot like the whole style, so I'm just going to show you how I start off this braid. And this is a style I'm most likely going to be wearing up a lot, especially like being in the workplace or whatever. So as you can see, I'm going to move a little closer. The way I braided it was perfect so that when I put my hair up in like a bun or a ponytail, that like the part in the braid itself looks really neat and makes sense. I'm going to show you the products that I'm using, and then I'm just going to jump right into the video. I have been staying true to that finger detangling. It does take a little bit longer than using like a detangler brush or something like that, but I have to stay true to what it is I said I wanted to do, because I'm gonna be honest, whenever I finger detangle, just like most other naturalistas on YouTube, I personally have experienced less hair coming out during the detangling process. So I'm going to be using this Eco Styling Gel. When I get to like the middle part of the braid, it helps combine, I feel like, really nicely. The fake hair with my hair like blend really good. At the base, I'm not a fan of gels, except for Eco if necessary, but I'm not a fan of like edge controls or using like heavy jams or anything like that. So I'm going in with this product, which I've shown you guys before. And then I'm all for a nice conditioner type of thing. So this, I like how it feels on my hair, and I'm gonna be using this just to add a bit of moisture and hydration to my hair as I go down the braid. You'll see me do that. And then I seal my ends with this black Jamaican castor oil, which I conveniently put in the top of one of my products. I don't use a whole lot. It's so thick that it does everything it needs to after I apply this. And I've already created my pieces. I'm using, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I use anywhere from, I want to say 6 to 7 additional pieces when I do this. And I'm only showing you one because this video is going to be a bit longer than I would want it to be, just because when it comes to doing these braids, I want them to be as neat as possible. And you know, you'll have some like flyaways or some parts that aren't perfectly into the braid. And I'm pretty sure you've seen other videos where people will typically clean them up with scissors once they finish the entire head, which I'm not going to get a chance to do that today, but I'm just showing you this process. And I'm going to show you how I seal the ends also, in case you don't want to dip them in hot water, or in case you don't want to use like nail glue to seal the ends or anything like thread, which I've never used thread, but it does look like a good method when it comes to sealing the ends. So I just detangle my part. I put a generous amount of this on the base just for a nice, really clean braid. And I just kind of work that in the base. I kind of like thread my finger through a couple times just to make sure it's perfectly detangled, so I can have a smooth base for my braid. Prepping the style took about, if I'm being honest, prepping the style took about 2 hours after I washed it and everything. When it comes to parting the style, and I believe I have something like 70. I think I have 70 braids, like 60 to 70 of these. And it's funny because it doesn't seem like much, but I'm gonna put my hair to the side after I finish this one, just so you can see a really good example of like the density of the style. I didn't want anything too bulky, and I didn't want to do a style that would take super long. I did break this style up into 2 days, because personally, oh shoot, I'm not explaining. So I start the braid off normal. So you can see that the gel is really on there. Not the gel, that the cream that I started with is really on there. And I just start like a regular braid. So if you've seen regular braid videos, I'm gonna slow it down when I add the hair though. That way you can see how I'm doing it. That way it smoothly is blended. So I take my time when I do these braids. They take me longer than most. I'm not a fan of doing braids, but when I do them, I do take my time because I like how it looks when I take my time. So I cut the hair in half. I probably use, this is like 58-inch hair. So essentially the hair is significantly long. So I cut it in half because I didn't want my braids to be too long. And then I put it in half. I'm gonna show you. Let me see if I can just, okay, so this is the braid. This is the hair. I'm just bringing it on the opposite sides like this. I'm putting it right on the base of this, and to avoid a knot, I'm just gonna continue slowly braiding, adding it in. And every time I add hair, I'm gonna do it slow so that you can see what I'm doing. I don't know, there's a million videos out here like this. I parted my own hair and I didn't use a comb. I used my fingers to part. I didn't say that. So this is what parting my hair looks like without any combs or anything. Like, I used my fingers to part my entire head, and I didn't use mirrors or anything. Like, I'm gonna put my hair back just so you can see. Like, the parts in the front probably look cleaner than the parts in the back. I got another piece of hair. And so whenever I do this style, one side is gonna be smaller, the other side thicker. So I usually switch it just so it could be some balance before I go back in. So you see, I'm gonna go right on top. And then I'm gonna take my time as I continue to smooth it down. And sometimes you'll know when the piece you're adding is too bulky. And so let me not move too fast. You'll know when the piece is too bulky because it'll have a knot, and I'll show you an example of that as I go further down. But as you can see here, it smoothly blends. And then I'm gonna go in with my Curl Perfector cream, which I would prefer that you use a leave-in conditioner. But if that's all you have, then use it. I'm like, if your hair needs something, anything, use what you have available. But you can see right here, even on my skin, how, what is that? You can see on my skin easily, on my hair easily, like how this braid is coming along. And I've already added 2 pieces. Honestly, feed-in braids, best style ever. So I'm gonna go in with another piece, and I'm just adding it right across the top. I'm not doing anything super special or significant. I'm just adding really small pieces to help make the braid longer. And you can see how it kind of gets a little, let me see, is that a good spot? No, that was a good spot to put that. You can see how it gets a little thicker. So I'll probably split some of the hair, some of the fake hair, to balance out the density of each piece. That way it's not weird. And so the braid does get slightly thicker as I go down. Starts off a little smaller, gets slightly thicker, but it's not gonna get thicker than that because I don't want any braid to be too crazy. I go in with more cream. I wanna make sure that I'm hydrating not only the fake hair, but also my hair. So if you can use a product that's not super expensive, I know that Cantu is a really good brand. It should cost like less than 10 bucks for a really nice sized jar. You can use a generous amount of that when you do a style like this. I just feel like when you're applying or using fake hair, it's important to hydrate the fake hair and your hair because it's making nice contact with your hair, and you want your hair to be hydrated throughout the entire process. So here I am going in with, I think this is my 4th piece. This is my 4th piece. And so I'll just like guesstimate and be like, okay, once I can use a little more length, let me go ahead and use that. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all gonna hear this train. I can't edit my videos, so I apologize for this train right now. You gonna hear the whole train. I'm so sorry. But I go in with a little more cream. And as you see me getting closer to the end of my hair, I'm gonna add another piece of hair, but then I'm also gonna go in with that black Jamaican castor oil. All right, so right now I try to make sure that the thickest piece whenever I add hair is in the middle. Then I go in with another piece and I just keep the process going. So as you can see, outside of this small area right here where it gets a little thicker, it stays consistent in size. And so now, as you can see, I have about 1 inch of my hair left out. And so that's when I'm gonna go in with that black Jamaican castor oil. Because of how thick it is, it's a perfect sealer when it comes to my natural hair, and it works nicely for the flyaways too with the fake hair when it comes to blending. Let's see, I'm gonna go in with another piece, and this style, it seems like I'm using a lot of pieces, but because I cut the hair, it stretches. So I'm gonna tell you, this style, I used one full pack of some whatever length hair you want. I would prefer the longer the better because you can cut it. So if you got like 58-inch hair or longer, that's good because you're gonna cut each bundle in half. So it's gonna almost feel like double, if that makes sense. I use one whole pack, and then my sister had some leftover hair. I used like a half of another full bundle, just so you can have an idea of how much hair I used for this style. Now, once my hair is completely sealed in this braid, which at this point it is, I go in with the Eco Styling Gel, and I put a generous amount on my hair, and then I just keep braiding. It's that simple. I'm gonna go in with another piece of fake hair, and I'm nowhere near the end. Honestly, I'm gonna show you how I braided pretty far because I wanted this style to be mostly braids than anything else. So I'm gonna show you. Actually, if I bring my hair over on one side, you'll be able to see. So essentially my braids go all the way down to like the last 3 to 4 inches. So when it comes to this braid, you're gonna see how long it's gonna be braided to. But I have one more added piece of hair I can use. But because this piece is also in the front, I'm not doing it as long as I did some of the other ones. So I just use Eco Styling Gel for the rest of this, just to avoid as many flyaway pieces as possible. And I'll come back in at another time to get rid of, with scissors, to get rid of any other pieces. But I'm gonna do a more detailed version of that a different day. So this is my last piece, and I am going to use that, like I said, thickest piece in the middle, leaving the smaller edges outside. I'm just gonna keep just wrapping it. Honestly, feed-in braids, y'all, is the easiest braid to learn how to do. It's easier than learning how to add hair at the base, if you ask me, because you don't have to do like that crisscross applesauce knot that's usually required when you do knotted extensions for twist or braids. The feed-in style, I feel like, is the most natural looking style. It looks the best even when your hair grows out and the style gets older, because it just looks like yours. It looks the nicest. And when you add like these different gels and conditioners to your hair, it blends the fake hair with your hair. So yeah, honestly, feed in braids, feed in twists, feed in anything, 10 out of 10 style, hands down, if you ask me. And so I'm getting towards the very ends. I'm gonna show you what it looks like because you're probably like, oh my gosh, you're still braiding. Yes, each braid took a very long time to do. I split my hairstyle up into 2 days, but if you're braiding quickly, you don't care about flyaways, or you're a seasoned braider, which I don't do a style like this except for maybe twice every 5 years. So I don't do this style very much. And this is the reason. It takes a long time to do a braided style for me compared to like twist. But here I am. I'm gonna go in with my invisible knots. So I've shown you this in one of my previous videos. It is really, really good. So I'm gonna take tiny, tiny, tiny pieces of hair from each braid if I can. Grab 2 fingers, I'm gonna show you a little quicker, wrap it around once. So this is how it looks. And then I'm gonna pull that little piece in between both of my fingers and thread it through. Now you can pull it and that be it, but to secure it extra, I like to do a double knot. So I'll wrap it around my fingers and pull it through twice. Now I don't leave it like this, even though you can. I like to blend it even more and make it more secure. So I'll end up splitting the piece that I already used and pulled through into that double knot. I'll get a fresh piece from the whole lot of the hair. And I'll do that same method again. Wrap the hair around both of my fingers, pull it through, and then I'll do it the double knot again. So I do 2 double knots at the very end, giving it that invisible knots where you don't have to worry about the braid unraveling, and this is how it looks. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This hairstyle is pretty long. You can pull it back, wear it up in a ponytail. And I'm gonna show you, my ponytail is pretty long, even though I cut the hair in half because of how I chose to do it. So hair still comes down to my waist. I'm gonna offer a recommendation. If I were you and I wanted to do something a little more, what's the word? If I wanted my ends to stay soft, like they typically are when you finish doing this, but you wanna make sure that you kind of like melt any flyaways that you might have gotten, I recommend trying to get a ponytail holder or rubber band. Make sure that you leave the straight parts of all of the bottoms and tie them up, and then take a nice part of the top, maybe tie it up. That way, if you do decide to dip your hair in hot water, you're getting only the fake hair. You're not incorporating your ends, you're not incorporating your real hair so it doesn't get frizzy or anything. You're just incorporating this, and then you can dip it in some boiling water for like 2 minutes or so. Make sure you take it out and that it still looks like this. Dry it, and if I were you, I would get a blow dryer and try to dry it so that you don't have any issues with water getting on the ends of your hair. Of course, it's not something that can last forever. It'll eventually get wet naturally, maybe due to the shower or weather conditions. But if you want something that's like, oh, I don't want to deal with cutting away the flyaways, you rather just, you allow the heat to kind of attach it to the braid or melt it away. That's what I would do. Actually, I might do that instead of taking my time to cut the flyaways, just because of the time consuming process. I feel like the other way is easier. But yes, this is my new style, you guys. Let me know how you enjoyed this video, and I'm gonna catch you guys next time. And you can see even better, like, it didn't finish drying, but this is how it looks. And I'm being honest, with a style like this, people always go in with like some mousse, a scarf, or something like that. You can do that, but I just feel like it's not necessary unless you want to. Naturally, as the style gets older, maybe after 3 weeks or something, you might want to go in with something like that. But for right now, I'm keeping it as is. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, everyone, see you.